Yo, this is Afro, aka All Flows Reach Out, and you're listening to Built for This Network. Yes, sir. From the building, stay bomb.
It's official. Style Guys is trending for the holiday season. Located 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Being black owned and operated with new items weekly, in store, and even online. And with over 50,000 followers online, you can't miss out. Sales going on till 2022. Like jogging suits, hoodies, t-shirts, Jordan Craig, smoke rides, crisp, sweaters, and so much more. So beat the lines and order online from Style Guys, 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Contact them today at 708-801-9481. Again, 708-801-9481. Or check them out from Tuesday to Saturday from noon to 7 p.m. or Sundays from noon to 5 p.m. Style Guys, 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Life, fashion, style. Follow some of the newest styles by Style Guys in Calumet City. Lock in The Style Guys on IG or look them up, thestyleguys.com. Gone wild!
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is HRap B, also the host of the End of the Bench podcast. This is a segment called Rappin with HRap. I have Chicago basketball legend Irvin Small on the line right now. Thank you, Irvin, for sharing your time with us once again. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate it, man. And, I look forward to us having this conversation.
Great, man. So, for those who are not aware of this, man, he's from Chicago, Illinois. He is somewhat of a legend here. You know, when you in the state of Illinois, when you are me and Irvin's age, you were a big-time basketball guy. And this guy came from one of the biggest powerhouses in the city of Chicago, publicly powerhouses, which is Simeon High School, or Simeon High School, as we say. You know, mainstream media calls it Simeon. When you're from the community, we call it Simeon. So I want to talk to this brother about his story. I want to get his point of view, and I want to know what inspired him and what brought him to where he is currently. So, you're from Chicago, Illinois. Let the people know what part of the city, because I literally have people all over the world listening to you. So I want your story to be an inspiration. Let me know how it was growing up in Chicago. First, you know what? Excuse me. That was rude. First of all, how are you holding up via this COVID situation? And hopefully no one has been hurt or lost in your family.
Well, I've lost a couple. I've lost about 4 or 5 people due to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago, actually, some of my family in Chicago right now. I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
I lost some cousins and an aunt.
Condolences.
But my family, we're prayerful. And we're thankful as well. You know, my aunt was 90-something years old who passed, and then I had a couple cousins that were older than me that passed. But it hasn't hit my immediate family, and I thank God, for that. And so, and any time that we're able to wake up, man, we blessed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we should take those things for granted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I used to have a pastor, and we'll get to that, but I had a pastor down in Champaign where I went to college at. He used to say, every day that you wake up is a blessed day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of live by that. You know what I mean?
Okay, man. Thank you, and condolences to you and your family, and nothing but blessings to the family that you lost. It's a horrible thing. I've lost 4 or 5 people myself, so I'm definitely in the same boat now. I definitely understand. With that being said, what part of the city are you from? Even though I know, I want the people to know what part of the city are you from, and how was it growing up in your community?
Actually, I'm from 2 parts of the city.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy, but I'm really from 2 parts of the city. My dad lived in the Robert Taylor, and so I lived with my dad for a while, and then my mom is from Inglewood, but my mom was actually, I was born in the Robert Taylors, and we lived in the Robert Taylors. I don't remember living in the Robert Taylors because we moved when I was 5 or 6. So I don't really remember that. You know what I'm saying? Actually, a lot of people probably know Marcus Liberty, who was the #1 player in the country, and in '87. Me and him grew up in the same building in the Robert Taylors together. My mom and his mom was really good friends, and so we kind of grew up together. Then we moved. I guess at that time Inglewood was supposed to be a little bit better, so we moved out and we moved to Inglewood. So I kind of claim Inglewood, but my roots is the Robert Taylor.
Okay.
So I grew up on 69th and Truth.
Okay. Okay. I know again. I remember 69th and Truth. I think I'm a year older than you. Right. How was it? What was the experience like growing up on 69th and Truth?
Man, I lived on a block where it was, back then, man, it was kind of a family-oriented block. Everybody, that lived on that block, man, was either athletic or they was trying to be athletic or, we played, we did all the things that kids, back then did. We drew up a box. We had a Commonwealth Edison building right there on the corner of 69. We drew up a box. We played strikeout, So we played baseball. We had some light poles on our block. We played touch football, and then we went up to the different schools and played basketball. So it was mostly a lot of people on my block, either played sports or they wanted to play sports. One of my next door neighbor was a guy named Maurice Webb. He went to Paul Robeson High School. So it was a lot of guys from Robeson that lived in my neighborhood that went to Robeson High School. So, of course they put a lot of pressure on me. The park, Ogden Park was kind of right down the street from our, 2 blocks down the street from where we lived at, straight down Truth. So we did a lot of stuff at Ogden Park. We played football at Ogden Park and all that stuff, So, growing up on that block, man, was family oriented, and I still kind of keep in touch with a lot of the people that I grew up with on that block. Okay.
And that's dope. At that point, man, back in the day when we were coming up, it seems like that was the case in most situations because, this is like in the midst of what they call the crack era. And, our community hadn't been totally poisoned at that point. So we didn't have to deal with the ups and downs of that whole situation. So life was a little better in Chicago, even though we had our issues with gangs and things of that nature. Because like you, I come from 2 different sections of town. I was born right outside of the neighborhood where the village is, right outside of Jewtown in the village. And I moved to Old Town, which is just north, literally like 3 blocks north of Cabrini Green. So, and again, me and you, we fishing out of the same pond. We go from the village. I go from the village. You go from Robert Taylor's to Inglewood. I go from the village to Old Town, and it's pretty much the same thing. But like you said, people were going, "Oh, this is better," and not really knowing, hey, it's really the same thing. So you said you were playing. I'm listening. So you were playing baseball and football, which is funny. Friend of the show, Deion Thomas, as I mentioned to you before we came on, he used to be a big-time baseball player, contrary to what most people believe, and his older brother kind of forced him into basketball. How did you get into basketball?
Well, I think that, I was bad, man. I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of mothers and fathers and parents right now, they say, "Oh, my son's so bad, he's so bad." But, I think that at the time I was going to Bond I'm from Southern now. So, I was going to say elementary, but I was going to Bond, grade school, and so when I was going to Bond, I was fighting every day, and I got kicked out of school. I got kicked out of Bond right there on 70. It was on 70th and Racine. I got kicked out. I think I was in 5th or 6th grade. They told me I couldn't. They told my mom I couldn't come back. So it was a school not too far up the street. My mom, we moved into another area, Inglewood, but it was Wentworth Elementary. If you know Jerome, if you remember Jerome Childs, that went to Robeson.
Yes.
He was going to school there at the time. Him and Charlie Smith, and they had a pretty decent basketball program. Aaron Stevens, who coached Julian for a while, who was a mentor, when I was younger, he was the basketball coach there. I was kind of chubby. I wasn't really, I was kind of chubby, but I was tall. I wasn't, So I said, man, I just started playing basketball, man. It was something for me and my friends to do. Coach Stevens, I was the only 7th grader when I went to 7th grader who played 8th grade softball. Back then we played clincher softball with the 16-inch clinchers. And Jerome Childs was on that team with me. And he was like, man, you ought to come out for the basketball. I was like, man, I don't want to play no basketball. Because, when I grew up kind of playing baseball,
Okay.
I was like, man, I don't want to play no basketball, man. He was like, yeah, man, you ought to try baseball and basketball. So, one day we was out, and they had a playground. They had a playground right behind my grammar school. One day we was out there, and a bunch of shorties was out there, so the older guys came out there, and they took over the court. You know how they back in the day, man. Y'all move, shorty, y'all move, go play on the monkey bars, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, man, I want to play, man. I want to play. They was like, man, you can't play with us, man. So I was like, man. So probably I used to go out there, man. I remember I used to go out there, man, and just practice. Me and one of my friends, we used to just practice, man, practice. And one day, one of the guys got hurt, and they was like, come on, shorty, you on our team. All you do is just pass. You know what I'm saying? So I got my break, and they passed it to me. They passed it to me one time. The game was on the line, and I was so wide open, and the older guy was like, shoot. And I shot it and made it, and that kind of propelled my basketball career,
Man, that's what's
right
up.
there on that playground, man. Yeah, so I was like, well, man, so now every time I go on the playground, all the other shorties that go play on the monkey bars, they'll be like, come on, Irv, you on my team, you playing, man, but man, you just pass. So, and then, I played in grammar school, and I was decent in grammar school, so I had a big decision to make. And by then, my mom, we moved around a lot, like most families, man. We moved around a lot. We moved way on the east side, man. Way over by the lakefront on Essex, on 81st and Essex. So when I was graduating from 8th grade, I was like, man, she was like, well, you're going to have to go to South Shore. I was like, no, I don't want to go to no South Shore, man. She was like, well, you don't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, at that time, everybody from my neighborhood was going to Robeson. So I was like, man, I want to go to Robeson. She was like, no, you ain't going to Robeson. So when I was in 8th grade, Coach Hamp. I don't know if you know Coach Hamp.
Yeah.
And actually, you probably know Hope. You probably know Coach Hope. Robert Reed.
Yes.
Hope. He had a little thing called Dynasty, and so I was playing with them, and then Coach Hamp seen me. So I used to play with Hamp. We had a great team. Me, Durrell, Marcus. We had a Marcus Liberty, Durrell Liberty, Dion Butler. So I used to play with them all the time. Lenny McIntosh. So and a lot of them was going to Simeon. So I was like, man, I'm going to Robeson because that was where people on my block where I grew up, they all went to Robeson. So I was at South Shore, man, and I wound up having to go to South Shore, and they really didn't have no structure, no program. It wasn't for me, man. I stayed there for 3 weeks, and Coach Hamp came and got me.
Dope.
He came and transferred me out without my mom even knowing, man. He came and transferred me out of there. Like, you going to Simeon, man. And I was like, man, you talk to my mom? He was like, no, but you going to Simeon. I'm going to talk to her. And, you know, my mom and which was, my mom and his girlfriend at the time was really good friends.
Okay.
So, he was like, you going to Simeon. So, he called my mom at work, said, yeah. She was like, how you going to get back and forth? He was like, if I have to pick him up, I'll pick him up. And this and that, you know. So she was like, all right, as long as you're going to get him to school. And I know he don't like it. Man, I was at South Shore, man. There was so many fights the first couple of weeks of school, man. I was like, oh, my God, I can't deal with this. You know, and I know that I was about to go down the wrong road because I wasn't really feeling the school. And educationally, I wasn't really trying to be there, so I didn't want to go to class. I was late all the time. Because it was nobody there that really, like, I knew nobody. It was like, I kind of understand now, like, when you move from one neighborhood to another neighborhood, you don't know nobody, man.
Right.
You know, and you used to being you was in grammar school, you kind of was a star, but you used to playing ball, and, you know what I'm saying? And it was bad, man. So, eventually, I transferred out, like, after my second or third. I think I was there for about 3 weeks, maybe a month. And then I transferred to Simeon. And when I got to Simeon, you know, they was having trials and all this. There was a lot of guys. There was a lot of guys that was trying out. You know, Simeon was a powerhouse back then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, well, I'm gonna try out, you know. And I was like, you gonna make the team, just come out. Oh man, it was some dudes, man, they was wearing me out, man. And then Coach Hammer was like, man, son, where you come from? You not very good. You know what I'm saying? like he kind of just stepped on my bubble, man. He was like, you not good, man. You know, I mean, how you gonna transfer with like you know? I was like, well, you know, Coach Hammer, he's like, I don't care who brought you over here. You know what I'm saying? This is a different breed. So eventually I did make the team. I didn't play a whole lot as a freshman. You know, I played a little bit, but not a whole lot. And then my sophomore year, which would have been Ben Wilson was there at the time.
Right. I was going to ask you about that.
Everybody probably knows who Ben is, but Ben was like, man, just keep working hard, man. Don't give up, man. You know, when I was a freshman, man, you know, I wasn't that good, and this and that. And so he kind of kept me motivated. Him and Bobby Tribble, a guy named Bobby Tribble, who played on the '84 state championship team at Simeon. And Trib was like, man, you can do this, man. And so Coach George Stanton, you know, he was at Simeon. He was our sophomore coach at the time, freshman sophomore coach at the time. And he was like, I'll put in some work with you, but you got to be willing to work. You got to be willing to work, man. I was like, yeah, I want it. I want to work. I want to, you know.
Right.
You know, in the classroom, I was doing good. You know, I was doing good in school, and because I was around people that I knew. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so in my sophomore year, we actually went to I started my sophomore year on Frost Off, and we actually went to the city championship, and we lost the city championship to Crane. They had Marcus Liberty was there, and Joe Doherty and Tremel Murphy, and
yes,
and we lost to that Crane team, and then at the time Hamburg was gonna move a lot of us up because they went downstate. That was the year they went downstate and won the state championship. Hamburg was gonna move a lot of us up to varsity. We was like, man, I'm gonna move y'all up to varsity, you know, so we could fill the roster out, you know, and so we never got moved up, but that summer, which would have been my going into my junior year, which would have been Ben's senior year, you know, man, we had a great team, man, and we was the #1 high school team in the country.
Right, I remember that.
Going into my junior year, and at that time, Nick had just transferred over. Nick Anderson had just transferred over.
From Emerson, right?
We had Deion Butler, a guy named David Knight, and so the USA Today came into our school, and they ranked us number one in the country. You know, number one. I think we was the first number one team ever in the country out of Chicago, out of the city.
Yeah.
And Coach Stanton worked with me every day my sophomore year. All during practice, I had to stay, an hour. And I used to just shoot bank shots. He used to make me shoot 500 on each side off the post. I work on my post moves, work on my little short jumper, my little short corner jumper, my little, and I perfected that, man. And I rebounded the ball. I played defense, and my backbone, going into my junior year was I was gonna be, with Nick and Ben and Dave Knight, and I don't know where I would have fit in as far as scoring, but I knew one thing that I could do, and I could do that well, and that was play defense, block shots, and I could score around the basket. I knew that for a fact. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that summer, we played the Adidas tournament at St. Benedict. Well, let's go back. That summer, Bob Hemrick, who was our coach, who was the varsity coach, he said, man, he's like, I know I've been watching you put the work in. He's like, I'm going to start working with you now. So he would pick me up and pick Ben up. Me and Ben was working out together every day in the summer, going into Ben's senior year, which was my junior year. And we would work out every day. I'm talking about, and then he would drop us off at Cole Park. Then we'd go play ball all day at Cole Park. And he had a little 280Z. Can you imagine? Ben, he was about 6'9" at the time. And I was 6'6", 6'7". And we was riding around with our coach in the dang 280Z and a 280ZX.
Damn it,
so
man.
It was people you see us and be like, man, look at these dudes, man. But we'd get out at Cole Park and go to work on people. But we always played together. You know what I'm saying? So I remember the day when Ben came back from the first game we had when we played in the Adidas tournament, and Ben had just came back from the Nike All-American camp where he was ranked number one in the country, the number one senior in the country.
I remember that.
And we played Providence St. Mel. And Ben was like, they're going to be keying on me, so just be around the basket. You should get you about 5 or 6 dunks. Hit your little shots, get on the post, work out on the post. I'm going to hit you. I got you. So I was like, he's like, all the stuff we worked on all summer, this is your chance to prove how good you is, because they don't really know. A lot of people don't really know how, the public league don't know how good you is until you play prop off,
Right.
So I was like, all right, bet. We was playing, man, first couple plays, now he came down, he hit me with a pass right there, I got a dunk. Then he hit me with another pass, and I got a dunk, and I hit a short. So by halftime, I had like 20 points.
Whoa.
He had like 10 assists, he had like 10, 15 points, but, then, Deion, them, everybody on my team, man, they used to watch me. They used to be like, man, this dude here stay after practice an hour or two after practice. He got to shoot 500. Back then everybody thought it was punishment. You know what I mean? I used to shoot 500 jumpers, man. I had to bank them all off the glass. I couldn't shoot them straight in. But, and I really didn't understand it until I perfected it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and then it became so normal for me to bank the ball. Even my little point guard, Deion Butler, he used to be like, kiss that thing, E. And I used to shoot it and I used to bank it in. One of the guys, Montel Griffin, who was a boxer, he went to send me he always called me now. He said, man, you was Tim Duncan before Tim Duncan, because I was so skilled around the basket, and I wasn't flashy or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just did what I did. You know what I'm saying? And then I started moving my game out, free throw line extended all the way around, where I had a nice touch, because they was like, if you can bank that ball, you can shoot it, you got a nice touch. You know what I mean? You got a nice soft touch. So, so I started doing that, and I always hung my hat on, I can play defense, I can block shots because I can jump a little bit.
Okay.
I can block shots, I can play defense, I can help my team by rebounding and blocking shots and playing good defense. You know, if it was a big man if it was the big man, I took pride in shutting them down. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, like I said, we was the number one team in the country, and you know, then tragedy hit our team with Ben being killed.
Right.
And we still were good, man. We still were good. We played that season out. We winded up going undefeated throughout the whole city without Ben. You know, we winded up going undefeated until we got downstate. We beat a Tim Hardaway team, Carver,
Right.
for the city championship. We beat Carver for the city championship. And again, I had about 15 points, but I had, you know, they had two inside players, a guy named Caleb Davis and Wade Jenkins. And man, it was, you know, I took pride in playing defense on those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then we went downstate and we lost to Springfield Lamprey to Ed Horton. Ed Horton and his brother was on the team together. We lost to them by, I think, 3. That's the year that Melvin McCants and I think that's the year that Mel McCants and Mount Carmel won the state championship with Derek Boyd hit that game-winning shot.
I think that was that year. I'm almost sure it was.
Yeah,
Then Melvin
it had to be because Melvin McCants was a year older than me.
Right.
So it had to be. You know, he was in Ben's class. So now everybody knows me in the city. Everybody knows I can play. Everybody knows. You know, I get a lot of mail. I get a lot of recruiting offers, a lot of mail. You know, Hambrick, you know, he was a disciplinarian. He didn't really care about all that stuff. He didn't let us talk to the media. We was real strict, man.
Mm-hmm.
Our team he was really strict on us, but some of the life lessons that he taught us was off the chain. You know what I'm saying? Because we learned so much. We understand like how the media can change your words up. He explained to us. Even when we was ranked number 1 in the country, man, USA came in there, he would not let nobody talk to the media. Nobody. You know, we weren't able to say, oh yeah, and you know, give somebody. You didn't get no bulletin board material from playing Simeon. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I remember that, man. I mean, he was notoriously famous for that. Hey, that team that y'all lost to, that's the same team that had Kevin Gamble on it too, right?
I don't think Kevin was there. I think Kevin had already left.
Oh, okay.
I think he had left the year before. But they had a great team though.
Right.
They had a good team. But we could have beat them. Nick hurt his back. He went up for a dunk. I think he fell. He hurt his tailbone or his back. But that's who we lost to. That was the only game. That's the only game we lost that season, actually. So, you know, if we would have had Ben, there's no telling how, you know, how we would have finished. Because we was able to accomplish that without him.
Right.
And that was a great accomplishment. So if we would have had him, you know, there's no telling what would have transpired. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean, during that period, you guys and King, y'all owned the city. And that was, I mean, it was just the situation. And I would like when Dion was on, I always refer to that was you guys were the last public league all-stars before the national media took over. And in my opinion, spoiled Chicago basketball because it was nothing for us to run home and see you guys on the news at 4:30 every day. And then you went on about your day, and then you bought the Sun-Times or the Tribune. It was really the Sun-Times that had you guys ranked every day.
Right.
It was a wonderful time in the city, man. It was a wonderful time in the city.
Now listen to this. Though we was not able to talk to the media.
Okay.
Everybody on my team almost probably bought a Sun-Times the day after the game.
Right.
You know, we come to breakfast. You know, back then you had breakfast in the morning. You come to school. School started at 7. Everybody get in there at 7 o'clock. It'd be so many newspapers in there. You reading about yourself. You reading about what they said. You seeing how many. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
You knew what was being said, though you was not able to contribute to the article. You knew what was being said.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, you spoke briefly about the tragedy that, I mean, the whole city was sad. I remember, I'll never forget that day. I mean, I'm a dude who's going to Westinghouse at the time. So it shook the West Side. How does that feel to have a guy who, for one, he's the #1 basketball player in the United States of America as a teenager? Well, I guess he would be the LeBron James of his day. And this is also, not only is he the best basketball player in the country, best basketball player in the state, best basketball player in the city, best basketball player on your team, this guy's encouraging you, and now he's gone. How does that feel?
Well, it was a tragedy, man. But for me personally, and I make it personal because he was my friend. You know what I'm saying? And not an associate, not a teammate. He was my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to go to his house and spend the night. And we used to hang out. And we used to do things together. And we used to talk to girls and try to, try to talk to girls. And we used to go to our football games. And so we did a lot of stuff together, man. So not only did I lose my teammate, I lost a good friend that day, too. You know what I'm saying? And it hurt my spirit, man. It hurt me, man. But, I got one child, and that's a female daughter, and she played basketball, and I got a grandson now. But in my family, if you play sports and you are connected to me, you wear the number 25.
Dope. You know what I'm saying? That's dope, man.
So, and I tried to my daughter, I had to let her sit down and watch why it's so important to me. Watch why, to see exactly why that number is so important. In high school I wore 50. In college I wore 24. But and I wore 24 because Nick Anderson wore 25. You know what I'm saying? So the closest thing that I could get to 24, that's what I wore. I mean, 25. That's what I wore. You know what I mean? Both of us couldn't wear 25, so, But going back to your question, it was hurtful, man. When I woke up that morning, I heard about it. And I can remember, man, I was earning a pair of pants. Back then, man, we used to wear creases in our jeans. Basketball players thought they was cool, man. We would wear crease, fold your shirt in half, crease your shirt, and I remember just burning the whole shirt, man. My mom came in like, hey, she was getting ready to go to work. She was like, I know you heard. I heard about it on the radio. She was already prepared to, to comfort me, man. And like, you don't got to go to school. Like, and I was like, no, I got to go to school.
Right.
I got to be with my teammates. I got to be with the people that I'm with. I mean, if you think about it, man, I was with my teammates more than I was with my family, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We get out of school, we go to practice. We don't get out of practice at 6:30. You know what I mean? Then I'm still left for an hour and a half just working on my craft, man. You know what I'm saying? So I might not leave the gym till 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm getting home, do my homework, you know what I'm saying? If I did it, and then I would go to grab something to eat, my mom would cook, and that was it, man. I go, man, I'm gone right back to school the next day,
Right,
right. So my thing was all I knew, man, was my teammates as my family. You know what I'm saying? That was my family, man.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for me, man. And it's still hard sometimes today. You know what I'm saying? I can't watch that 30 for 30 Benji because I tear up and I start crying, man. And because of how that man touched my life. You know what I'm saying? And really, once we get to talking about my transition to college, it really hurt me because I don't know, honestly, and this is the God's honest truth, man. I don't know if I would have went to the University of Illinois if it had been living, because if he would have chose Illinois and he was already there, and then Nick would have chose Illinois. I don't know if that would have been a place for me, not because of putting it all together, but I don't know if Illinois would have saw me.
Right.
You know, Illinois was coming to watch Benji play.
Right.
And they know, and Ken Collins noticed me while he was recruiting Ben. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's how I was even noticed to get my college scholarship. You know, we didn't have AAU and all that back then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So schools that came to recruit some of the guys like Nick, who was well known and came to recruit Nick, or you know, they was recruiting like we you know, the Red South. And I tell this story to people, and it's amazing, man. Do you know? And I hate to jump around on you, but
No, you perfect, man.
Do you know in 1990, the conference, the Red South, where I played at, right?
Okay.
In 1990, it was 3 first-round draft picks out of that conference.
Wow.
In 1989, I'm sorry, not 90, 89. I came out in 90. Nick by the Orlando Magic.
Right.
Tim Hardaway got drafted
right.
out of El Paso, and Byron Irvin out of June.
I forgot about Byron Irvin, man.
Yep.
I
so
knew the first 2.
Of them guys.
Yeah.
He played at Arkansas, then he went to Missouri.
Right.
With Eddie Sutton. Well, he was at Missouri, then he left and went to Arkansas. But I tell people that's how tough that Red South was. You know what I'm saying? That Red South was the city. You got to think about the city. I played on the team, man. I played on the team back when they used to have the Perry State games. I'm still in high school, and I played on the team with me. And you said Westhouse, they made me think about Hawk.
Right.
Me, Melvin McCann, Lowell Hamilton, Fernando Bunch, David Knight. Man, we was, that's when it was the Perry State games. It was Windy City.
Right.
And we had a bomb. Man, we had a squad. I didn't even play that much. We were so stacked. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man.
So, but that just, and another thing, man, I tell people about Benji, man, I tell people this, and this is just my personal opinion. I tell people, had Ben Wilson lived, Michael Jordan would be. That's a huge statement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, this guy.
That's a huge statement because I am a diehard Jordan fan. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that but I tell people, had Ben Wilson lived, he wouldn't be the GOAT. Michael Jordan wouldn't have been the GOAT.
Wow. I always say that about.
And I mean that because I've seen Ben grow, not just in height, but his game. You know, when I first came to Simeon, he was the guard. He played guard.
Okay.
And he just grew, and he worked on his low post skills and his jump shot. And he already had the ball handling and all that.
Right.
So it just made it evident that he propelled because he could do it all. He could do it all, man, and he could jump. You know, so man, I tell people that, man, and they like, oh, man, go ahead on, but I mean that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
I seen this guy, you know what I mean? And it's personal too, a little bit, but a lot of it is based off of the skill set that I know that he had. You know, because at Simeon, man, a lot of people wouldn't know that I could shoot the ball from the outside. They wouldn't know that. You know what I mean? They wouldn't know that.
Right.
Because you stayed within the system. We were systematic, and you stayed within the system. You didn't get outside of your body, man. And if you did, you'd be sitting next to Hammer on that bench.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. You mentioned.
So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
No, go ahead with your question.
You mentioned Marcus Liberty. That Red South
right.
was a beast. Y'all had Dunbar. Y'all had you guys.
No. That's the Central.
Oh, that's
the
the
Red Century.
that's the Red Century. I knew. But
that was Dunbar. The Red Century was Dunbar, Robertson, King. I think Phillips might have been in there.
Yeah, Phillips is definitely in there. Oh, okay.
I was in the Red South with Julian, Simeon, Morgan Park,
Corliss.
Corliss. Yeah, Corliss was good. Corliss. Who else? Schools like that. Yeah, that's who we played.
Yeah, my bad.
No.
How was it playing against these guys? And like, who was the guy that you as a competitor look forward to seeing every time y'all played?
Tim Hardaway.
Wow.
Tim Hardaway. Because I think Tim, you got to realize, Tim was a year older than me.
Okay.
And the Ben's class. And I used to see Tim do some crazy stuff, man. Like, everybody talking about that killer crossover. He had that in high school.
Right. Yes.
He used to give us those, but I used to love to play against Carver because I knew that they had two of the top big men, too. Like I said, they had a dude named Wade Jenkins and Caleb Davis. So I used to love to play against Carver, man, because it was a challenge, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, man, we used to beat people so bad. I used to be, it wasn't fun, you know what I mean?
I can remember.
It wasn't fun. We used to beat Carver, too, but not as bad as, like, we used to, like, Hyde Park was in our conference. You know what I mean? Julian, man, we beat Julian about 49 or 50 one time because, Coach Hambrick and the coach at Julian at the time, Mr. Milan, they used to play basketball together, kind of like we would do right now. You know what I'm saying? If
right.
We were high school coaches. You know what I'm saying? And so, he was talking crazy to Hambrick. Hambrick said, all right, man, we're going to beat y'all about 50. He said, man, y'all can't beat us by no 50. He was the coach at Julian.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, man, we pressing the whole game. Like, what? Like, yeah, we're going to press. We're going to press the whole game. So make sure we in shape all this week. We worked on our press, man, all week. We press, practice our press, man. 3 quarters, half court. We used to press. Then we played zone, man. I'm talking about, it was crazy, man. But we beat them, I think, by 49.
Damn it.
So yeah, we used to be Hyde Park, CBS was in our conference, man. It was crazy, man. But that was when, to me, basketball in the city was kind of nuts. Like, the house music trend was off the chain. Everybody was listening to house music at halftime of the game, man. House music, and you look up in the stands, man. You see girls with your number on, your name on it. You don't even know them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tell my daughter, I said, we walked in the gym, people be like, oh Lord, there they go. Oh man, there they go.
Yeah.
They see that blue and gold coming to the gym, they be like, oh man. And one thing about Hamrick too, he kept us uniform. We had on sweats. Everybody had sweats with their name, their number. We was very uniform, man, as a group. Everybody had the same shoes on. Wasn't nobody standing out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when we walked through the gym, it was like Bon Jovi walking up in that joint. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember.
I might be exaggerating a lot, but
no.
Hey, but high school basketball team, man. When Simeon walked in the gym to play y'all, or we was playing somebody else in a tournament or something, man, it's just like everybody flocked to our game, man, because they like, there they go. We used to hear them, man. Oh, man, they go Simeon, man. Oh, man, there they go. Oh, man. Look. And the girls used to go crazy, man. It was, that was a fun time for me in my life. You know what I mean?
Hey, Irvin, you're not exaggerating, brother. You're not. Because I remember, I think it was the Whitney Young tournament I went to that y'all were at. And the cats on the west side, it was cats on the west side. And, it's always been a little tension, south side, west side of Chicago.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, hey, man, Simeon on the west side. And we was like, we got to go. You open up the newspaper. I'm in high school with you. what did Simeon do last night? What did Simeon do in the Thanksgiving tournament? What did Simeon do in the Christmas tournament? So no, you're not exaggerating, bro. No way.
But let me tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story. This good story. Funny story, intense story, but a frightening story. So my sophomore year, when I played sophomore again, I'm going back a little bit. When we played Fair, they had John Kelly. They had, I think Joe Jackson was on that team, but they had a hell of a squad, man. And they was playing our varsity, which had won the state championship. Actually, that was the only game that they say that we lost. That our varsity lost that year. Right?
Okay.
But a fight broke out.
I remember that. I knew you were gonna talk about that.
A fight broke, man, and it seemed like the whole school the whole school was fighting us. It seemed like it was a million of them folks, man.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, they was beat. I mean, Ben, everybody got beat up. I don't care, man. Them folks, man. And so me and some of the sophomore, we was getting ready to play because it was at the end of the game, and somebody fouled our guard, Tim Bankston, who was the coach at I think he had TF North or TF South, but anyway, somebody had fouled Tim, and a fight started, man. And they got to fight, man. We got to fighting up in there, man. And we ran. We finally got up to the locker room, man. People bleed. People, puffy eyes. Everybody's going off. Hammer was like, man, just shut up. Everybody be quiet. Let's get the bus. Call the bus driver. Get the bus driver. So we finally get on the bus, man. And I promise you, man, I've never been so scared in my life. As we was getting on the bus, they was throwing bottles and cans and all kind of stuff at us at Ferry. We get on the bus, we think we cool. We think, oh man, we safe now. We straight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We get on the bus, and we get on the bus, man. They start rocking the bus from side to side.
I heard it.
They standing in front of the bus, so the bus can't move. They got the bus going on two wheels, on this side, on that side, on this. Man, we like, oh my God. I'm like, man, we finna die, man, on this side, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, Chicago, when it comes to hoops, it is insane. One of my classmates, he used to talk about y'all all the time, Quitman Dillon. And it was like, man, it was really just a battle to see who. I'm gonna be honest, it was a battle to see who was gonna lose to Simeon or King in the city at that point. Because you were either gonna lose, you were gonna either lose to Simeon or you were gonna lose to King, and y'all guys were gonna play at the Pavilion, and that's just it. And it was a beautiful time, man. I wish, and you're right, I wish we could recapture that because we don't have that in the city anymore. Okay, we talked about the scariest moment in your high school career. What's the best moment in your high school career? Due to the technical difficulties, folks, we gonna take a brief till I call Mr. Smalls back. The line dropped. He's driving in his car. There you go, right here. Okay, what was the last thing you heard I said?
Man, we were talking about how the west side. We were talking about the west side.
Okay, yeah, I was like, yeah, man. At one point, when me and you were in high school, it was just the race to do.
My biggest worry was back then.
What?
Man, I gotta go to practice.
Right.
Man, I gotta go to practice. That was it. You know what I mean? Because one thing about Hamrick too, he gonna make sure that you doing what you're supposed to do academically. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't play for Simeon if you ain't go to class. You know what I mean? So that you knew if you wanted to play and keep that status, you had to take your behind the class. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't just. And a lot of the traditions at Simeon, even to this day, with the Jabari, the Kendrick, a lot of the guys, D-Rose, a lot of that tradition was passed on to the coach that's there now, Robert Smith, and they still do a lot of the stuff that I went to one of their practices a few years back. They still do a lot of the same stuff that we did in Hambrick taught Rob. Rob played for Hambrick. The coach is there now. So it's kind of crazy. But, but so that's one of the funniest things and one of the most frightening things about that West Side, South Side, But I continue, man, so we can get this going. But so now I go, my junior year, I get invited to the Nike All-American game. I'm like, man, so my transition is from not Hambrick telling me you're not that good to now one of the top 125, 150 players in the country. So I'm like, So now I'm starting, and then, at this time, Ben is gone. So I'm remembering, like, Ben said, man, you're going to be good. You're going to be good. Just keep working. Just keep. So now my hard work, man, has really paid off because I'm invited to the Nike All-American camp. So when I get to the All-American camp, these dudes is huge.
Wow.
These dudes is huge, man. You got guys in my class like Derek Coleman and Terry Mills, who's 16 and played in Michigan. Them and Derek was 1 and 2. He's a kid named Stevie Thompson that was in my class.
I remember Stevie.
From California. It was
Springs
crazy,
for days.
Man. It was crazy.
I was like, he had springs for days. Stevie Thompson.
Yeah, so I go to All-American camp and I get ranked. With, I think it was 80-something. I get ranked 80-something. There's 150 of us there. But I wound up having to play guard.
Wow.
I wound up having to play guard. And that's not my position. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I wound up having to play guard because some of the guys on my team was 6'10", 6'11". I'm 6'6", 6'7".
Right.
But what I would do is to get Hambrick put me to the side because he was coaching at the All-American camp. He said, what you got to do is you got to pick some little guards. Don't handle the ball. Take those guards that's guarding you down on the post, and then you work them out on the post, which made sense.
Right.
I would wave my big guys out or do a pick and roll, and I would wind up some kind of way on the post. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And once I got one of them guards on the post, they wasn't used to guarding the post. Just like I wasn't used to guarding them on the perimeter.
Exactly.
But it all worked out, man. I got seen by a lot of colleges. This was before that whole AAU thing. I got seen by a lot of colleges, and when certain people played on the main stage, certain people played, all of the coaches, Bobby Knight, Boeheim, John Thompson,
right.
Everybody, the stands it was like maybe 500 college coaches in there. It was in New Jersey, and it was Athletes for Better Education. It was an athlete camp, Nike. And, man, there was so many people and so many college coaches in there. You know what I'm saying? And it was just crazy, man. It was just something. So my senior year comes. I'm a senior now, and we ranked. I think we was ranked number 1 in the city. We had a good team coming back. Me, Nick, Deion Butler was a junior. We had a guy named Mark Bradley was a junior. Kendrick Nunn's father, Melvin Nunn, was on our team. He played with me. We had a pretty good. We had a guy named Alec Gord. We had a good team coming back. We had a real good Eric Davis. So we had a good team coming back. We had a solidified, as one of the top teams in the state.
Okay.
And I think we was the top team in the state. I don't remember. I know it was between us and King. We practiced on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll tell you another good story, crazy story. We practiced on Sunday, and we practiced in the school didn't cut the heat on to a certain time, so we used to have all these sweats on. And by the time in the middle of our practice, they didn't have cut the heat on, right?
Right.
So we started off practicing in gloves and sweats because it was cold. Chicago
In Chicago in the winter, yeah.
So we practicing. So we in a cold gym. Now keep in mind, we in a cold gym on a Sunday. And I promise you, we had a little thing that overlooked our gym, which is where the gym teachers used to have their offices at.
Okay.
One Sunday, man, we went to practice. We get in there, man. I promise you, John Thompson, Bobby Knight, Lou Hens, it was packed.
Wow.
On a Sunday, and I guarantee you it was 50 to 55, 60 degrees, cold as I don't know what in that gym, man. And they was in that gym, man. They came to see me, Nick, Dion. You know what I'm saying? They came to see some of our players. Me and Nick was the seniors on that team, the two highly recruited seniors on that team. But it was crazy, man, to see all those people in there. Well,
damn.
So the year went on, and I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. The year went on, and we wound up playing King for the city championship. At that time, you can only whoever win the city championship went downstate.
Right, I remember that. You only had one team. Yep.
So we wound up playing King. They had Marcus Liberty, the Burgess Robinson, Reggie King, my partner, and Reggie. They had a good team, man. They had a good team, but we knew that me and probably the Verdis and Nick and Marcus was gonna kind of even out. You know what I'm saying? And so, but we figured we had more discipline than they did, because they used to be dunking on people, getting in their face.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They used to go for the steal. They used to, Marcus used to finger roll from the free throw line sometimes on people, man.
Man.
It was great. So we was like, okay, cool. So we playing. We go, it's back and forth. So, man, I go up for a rebound, and I get elbowed in the eye, man. So my eye's bleeding like crazy.
Oh,
and a lot of people might not remember this. Some people might, but I got elbowed in the eye. I'm bleeding like crazy. So they finally put some of those boxing stitches, some of the butterfly things on my eye.
Right.
So they stopped it from bleeding. Ooh, I go back in the game. I got a big old patch on my eye, man. I can hardly see out of my eye, man. It's swole. My mom is in the stands. We was warming up after halftime. Somebody shot the ball. We was warming up. Shot an air ball and hit me in my eye, man. Bust my stitches back. Bust the thing back open. Bust it back open. So now I'm back in the locker room. So this time they had we was at UIC. We played at the Pavilion.
Right.
We was at UIC. And this time I see my mom come down there. They didn't really got my mom after audience. I see my mom in the locker room. I'm like, man, what are you doing down here? She was like, the doctor wants to talk to me. They want to know if they can stitch you up. So I was like, man, I'm getting stitched up. You know what I'm saying? I got to get back. You know what I mean? If I'm going to be able to play, man, they got to put stitches in this. I got to play, Mom. She was like, well, I want to know what this is about this eye. Will it affect it? You know, they was like, no, you're going to be all right. It's just, we just going to stitch them up. We're going to put a pad on it. So they stitched me up, man. I went back in the game, man. And I don't remember how many, but I went to work. And I was the MVP. Me and Reggie King was MVP of that
city championship.
By 3 points, man.
That's
city championship.
Dope.
We lost by 3. And I mess with Marcus all the time because I didn't play a quarter and a half.
Oh, wow.
And Nick probably had the worst game of his high school career.
Damn.
He didn't play well at all. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't play well, and I was killing them at the time when I got hurt, before I got hurt. I thought I was going to work on it. I think I wound up with like 22 points, but I didn't even play a quarter and a half. The game before that, we played CBS, and I had 32 or 34.
Oh, okay.
So I was carrying us really in scoring because they was a lot of times teams would double team Nick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nick would get his, but I would double team him. But I would I would get 20 points a game, man. I was averaging at least, they say I averaged throughout that season, you know, when I got to Illinois, they said I averaged about 18 points a game, high school. But I know I played defense, and like I said, I hung my hat on defense. So we wind up losing. We get recruited. We lose to King. King go down state, and they won state championship. They won the state championship.
Yeah.
And actually, they beat one of my college teammates in the finals, which was Kendall Gill. They played Rich Central in the state championship.
Now.
So I wind up getting recruited. Man, my story is long, man.
Hey, man, I got time.
Right, I was just telling y'all. So I wind up getting recruited. So Nick, he was going to the Dapper Dan class, and he was on a plane, and he called back and said, "Hey, well, Coach Collins called when they landed in Detroit. They were saying, actually, it was the McDonald's game. Nick
Okay.
was going to the McDonald's game, and he signed his letter of intent on a plane with Coach Collins. And you know, Hambrick is the type of person, man, he wants to know everything before. He likes to plan for everything.
Right.
You know, he on all that, and you gonna talk to him before you make a decision, you know, and so forth and so on. But anyway, Nick signed, so I was like, well, you know, Illinois was recruiting me too, but I just thought that they wanted me to come there in case they didn't get Nick or in case they didn't get a good recruiting class, because I'm still kind of optimistic about my skill set. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm like, well, I'm good. But that's what a lot of people really liked about me, because I never got really the big head, because I came from Inglewood. You know, my story is I came from Inglewood, Robert Taylor's. I wasn't used to, I didn't think that I could be as good as I was. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it was kind of like it was a dream, but it was like it was a dream, but it wasn't really, you know, like, man, for real, man, I'm like, I'm at the Nike All-American camp with the number one player in the country. I'm playing on this good team, and I mean, like, from where I come from, man, it just don't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how is this? You know, so Illinois continually recruit me after they recruited Nick. I'm like, man, these people. So we play in the city suburban game.
Okay.
And we play in a city suburban game. And you know, now my season is over. I can really kind of showcase some of the stuff that I can do outside of. I can showcase some of the things I do outside of Simeon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can shoot the ball from the outside. You know, it wasn't no three-pointer back then.
Right.
I can shoot the ball from the outside. I can show. So we was in the game. We played City Suburban, and Tony Freeman. Somebody, our guard fouled out. I don't know. I think he's a cop. Somebody, whoever was coaching us, he was like, "Eric, can you play the point?" I was like, "Yeah, I can play the point." Knowing I can't play the point. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll play the point." This City Suburban game. You know what I mean? But I got Levertis on my team who was at King, so I'm like, because all I got to do is get the ball, throw it up in the air to him, he's going to get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, yeah. So they put me at the guard spot. I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm handling my business. And Tony Freeman was guarding from St. Joe. And boy, I did something. I don't know what I did, but I shook Tony. And he fell. I'm like, oh, Lord. Boy, man, then in my head, I'm like, oh my God. But we winded up, I played like the last 5 minutes at the point. And you know, a lot of college coaches had never seen me handle the ball. They never seen me shoot from the outside. They didn't know I could really pass the ball. So
right.
A lot of my potential as a college basketball player came out of that game. And that's when all of the recruiting, I mean, I was getting recruited anyway, but it just stepped up like 10 notches. Like 10 notches, man. It just went crazy, man. My recruiting went crazy. I wanted to, Georgia Tech was on me for a long time, and that's why I was like, man, I'm going to Georgia Tech. You know what I'm saying? That's all I used to tell people. Hey, my close friends, I wouldn't say that out. I was like, man, I told him this. I think I want to go to Georgia Tech. He was like, man, that's too far away from home, and you know, and a lot of the stuff he was saying was logical. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
man, you don't want to do that, man. That's too far. Your mom, you know, you're an only child. Your mom will never get to see you play, and you know, it just was, man, this, and that. It was just a lot, man. So I was like, well, I at least want to go visit. So I came to visit, man. I'm joking. Sally was here, and all they was calling me Sally, little brother, and you know what I mean. And so I had a good time, man. And I called from Coach Clemens' office, and I called Hambrick. I said, hey, man. Coach Clemens called. He said, Terry, what you think about your visit? I said, man, I'm coming, man. I'm coming. They took me to a Michael Jackson concert, man, at the Omni Arena. It was the Omni.
Yeah, I remember. That's where the Hawks used to play.
I met Dominique Wilkins. It was like, man, what? I'm coming, right? Yeah, I'm coming. And I get on this, so he said, you verbally committing to us? I said, I'm making a verbal commitment, man. I'm coming to Georgia State. So they called Coach Hambrick. Hambrick said, no, he ain't verbally committed to nothing. He said to his mama, he's not verbally committed to nothing. So I get back home, I tell my mama, I want to go to Georgia State. She's like, oh, that's cool. It's fine. She's like, one thing I will tell you is I'm not going to tell you where to go to school because you would never tell me that I made you go somewhere. Or you know what I mean?
Right.
Or I told you to do it or this and that. So I said, well, what did you think? She said, the only thing I think is I just want to be able to watch you play sometime. It seemed like 15 minutes later, Lou Henson called my mama, to set up a visit. He heard that I had verbal. He said, well, just let us come in the house and visit with y'all and talk to you. And I'm going to show you where y'all fit in. He came in, man, and that was it, man. I signed with Illinois.
Wow.
I called Hambrick. I said, hey, man, I'm going to Illinois. He said, you sure that's what you want to do? I said, yeah, man, I'm going to Illinois, man. I'm going to Illinois. I got Coach Collins, who was a black assistant at the time. He was so cool, man. And he had been on for a while, even when Ben was there. He's like, I'm going to get you. You know?
Wow.
I was like, man, I'm not going. I'm getting out of this state, man. I want to get out of it. And I wound up going to Illinois. So that was kind of it for high school, you know.
Now you in college. Everybody's saying this might be the year. Y'all have national acclaim. Walk me through that, man. That was insane. That year was insane.
Which one is that?
The 1989 year. Oh yeah, you were there in 88.
Yeah, I was there in 86. And I do want to tell this part because it's not always been peaches and cream for me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? My coming out of high school, man, you know, and I'm not making excuses for nobody or nothing, but you know, for city kids, the ACT and the SAT was kind of difficult. You know what I mean? It wasn't that you wasn't smart or you couldn't pass it, but it was just difficult, man. It was, you know, I mean, and so I was a Prop 48, which a lot of people who listening, unless you're older, you wouldn't know what that was, but it's called Proposition 48, which means that you had to have a certain ACT score in order to play as a freshman in college. And I didn't pass it. I missed it by 1 point. Took it a couple times, and I just couldn't get over the hump. So me and Nick were Prop 48. So we wound up sitting out together, but we got to work out with each other. We had each other.
Okay.
And Marcus was a Prop 48 too back in 87, but like Marcus said, he's like, well, I ain't had nobody to go to the gym with. I ain't had nobody to work out with. So, you know, but anyway, so I set out my first year. The good thing about it is I had a guy named Ken Norman who was a senior my freshman year, and he poured a lot. He poured a lot into me about weightlifting and defense and schemes and you know all that kind of stuff. So I had a lot. Him and Lowell Hamilton being there. It just was some Chicago guys there, and Kenny Battle was also sitting out because he transferred. So there was 3 of us that used to work out together, but Kenny could practice with the team. We couldn't practice with the team.
Why is that?
You know, then Because we were.
Oh, because he was a transfer. Yeah.
And he was a transfer, so he could practice. He transferred from Northern, so he could practice. We couldn't practice, with the team. But some of the guys, man, like Kendall and Steve Barlow, some of those guys, man, they would come in, be like, "Come on, man, we off today, man. Let's go to the gym and play ball." You know what I mean? So we got to play with them, still kind of, sorta. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they knew our situation, man, and it was rough, man. That was really, really rough, man. That was like a rough period for me in college, man. Rough. Because we couldn't play. The one thing that we came to school to do, we couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't play. And we coming from a program, man, that discipline and fundamentally sound and all that. It's like you lose something, man.
Yeah.
But I think that the discipline and all that kind of helped us because it enabled us to discipline ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And created the bond. Right.
So then the next year I was able to play. We had, that was '88. We went to we had a really good team. We had Doug Altenberger, Tony Whiteson. We had a good team. Nick Kendall. Our class, our freshman class though that I came in with was a hell of a class. You got Kendall. It was out of them people. Out of that, it was 6 of us, 6, 7 of us that came in there, and you had Kendall, who was a lottery pick. Nick, who was a lottery pick. Steve Barlow played for the Pistons. Marcus played for. Marcus wasn't with us. We had another guy named Larry Smith that was on that team. He was Mr. Basketball. Now, he was Mr. Basketball in '86 from Austin, Illinois. Him and Nick shared it. But yeah, so we had a really good team. We played in a tournament. We lost to, I'm trying to speed it up a little bit. We lost to Villanova. We lost to Villanova. We lost to Villanova. They had a guy, Tom Grice, and Doug West. We lost to them. That would have been my sophomore year. So my junior year is the year you're talking about.
Right.
So my junior year is like, man, it all comes together. Man. Everything, everybody know they role. Everybody playing their role. And it was just crazy, man. And all we used to do, Lou Henson was a mastermind on the defensive side of the basketball.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, he was a mastermind, And all we did was press and dunk and dunk and dunk and dunk and dunk.
Yes,
and
indeed.
And we played the team that I had verbally committed to, Georgia Tech. Man. They had Dennis Scott, Tom Hammond. They had a hell of a team, man. And Coach Clemens had put a great team together. And we played them in Champaign, and we beat them. And that was Kendall broke his foot in that game.
I was just about to say that. That's the injury game.
Yeah, and that's the game that they named us the number one team in the country after that game, after we beat Georgia Tech. Now, I'm going to say something to you that a lot of people can't say this.
Okay.
A lot of people cannot say this. It's probably only a few. Marcus might be the other one, and Nick Anderson, that I know of from Chicago. There's not a many people that can say they played on the number one high school team in the country, which when I was at Simeon in my junior year, which would have been 85, we was the number one high school team in the country.
Okay.
And in Illinois, my junior year, we was the number one team in the country.
That's
There's not a lot of people that can say they played on both levels, high school and college. But they played on the number one team in the country.
That's dope.
So that's an
and you at home.
And, yeah, and I'm at home. I'm at my home state. I'm playing for my state school. And then at that time, Marcus was there. So Marcus was a sophomore, so it's kind of like King and Simeon is at Illinois.
Right.
Add in Kenny Battle and a couple more guys, man. So that was kind of, But now you talking about Simeon being rock star. That team right there.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my God. We're not talking about going to Whitney Young and we going to Hawaii Louise tournament. We talking about going to Wisconsin and to Indiana, and we talking about going to Purdue and going to, man, we was just, and on that tournament run, it was just crazy. We started out the tournament in Indianapolis, which was about an hour and a half from Champaign.
Right.
And it seemed like the whole school was there. Our first game was against McNeese State. We played McNeese State, and we beat them. Then we played Ball State. They had two guys, Curtis Kidd and Paris McCurdy from Detroit. We played them, and then we won that region. And then we went to Minnesota to play in the Metrodome. We was the Dome team that year.
Right.
We played in the Dome. So we played in Minnesota. And Minnesota, the Metrodome at the time was so raggedy, man. It was some water had leaked on the floor, man. And
that's when Kenny hurt his knee. Right.
He twisted his knee, and Lowe got hurt in the Ball State game. He got hurt. He had a real bad ankle in the Ball State game. So coach, they was like, man, Lowe's not gonna be able to play. Kenny not gonna be able to play. So we was playing Louisville, and they had, you remember back then, they had Never Nervous Purvis.
Yes, indeed.
They had Purvis Ellison. They had Sherman. Now they had Purvis Ellison,
LeBradford Smith.
All those guys.
Yeah.
They had Kenny Payne and Kimbrough. They had a hell of a team. And so coach said, hey man, he came in. And the crazy part about it, me and Marcus was roommates on the road. We was roommates on the road. He came and sat in our room, looked around. And I'm just gonna tell y'all, man, I'm gonna start both of y'all. Huh? So I'm thinking to myself, what? He's like, yeah, you got to guard Purvis Ellison. Can you do it? I said, man, if I can't do nothing, I can play defense. I'm gonna be scrappy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be scrappy. I'm going to play defense. I'm going to score around the basket. The same thing that I pride myself on at Simeon. That's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right, well, you got Purvis. You need to get some sleep. I said, no, he needs to be getting some sleep. I said, he got me. So our game plan was for me to screen and pick and roll and catch Purvis and get my shots off pick and roll and keep him away from the basket so that he couldn't block shots.
Okay.
And so, funny story, man. My teammates will tell you this is crazy. So, I get ready to go out. I'm from Chicago. Now, I want you to think about Pat Beverly.
Right.
And this is how I know Pat Beverly from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I got this mentality that, I'm not scared of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I don't care where Purvis Ellison is from. So, Nick said, man, you got Purvis Ellison. That's Never Nervous Purvis. Man, I'm finished. Man, watch this. So, they called us out. So, I walk out. He said, yes, center, Purvis Ellison, University of Louisville, Irvin Small, University. So, I walk out, where you shake hands at.
Right.
Man, all I could think about was intimidating this brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Was trying to intimidate this brother because he was 6'10", I'm 6'7". You know what I mean? So when I went out at the half court to give him a handshake, I slapped his hand so hard. I thought I broke my hand. I hit his hand so hard. And he was like, man, what's wrong with this dude? So then when we got ready to do the jump ball, I didn't jump. I think Marcus jumped, but I didn't do the jump ball. So I walked up to him and shoved him and was like, man, you in for a long night, bro. He he was like, man, what's wrong with you? He's like, Dick, what's wrong? You know, because everybody knows Dick and Irvin, man. We 2 peas in a pot. You know what I'm saying? He was like, man, what's wrong with this dude, man? They like, this dude is crazy, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Coach Collins was like, man, you know what to do. So the first and second play of the game, I gave him a vote. He was posting me up. I gave him a vote. Boom. The rest they called him foul. Okay, cool. But I set the precedence for that whole game. He thought I was crazy, man. He thought I was crazy, man.
Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do to win, man.
And, you know, I told you that. Yeah, that was a great win. We wound up beating Louisville. So the next game we played was against Syracuse. They had a squad. They had Billy Owens. They had my boy who was my partner, DC, Derek Coleman. They had Derek. They had
Sherman Douglas
at the point. They had a good team, man. They had a real good team. You know what I'm saying? So DC said, hey, man, let me tell you something, man. You know, we watched the games. You know, me and DC and Terry Mills was real cool because we all knew each other from the All-American camp. So, you know, at this point, you know, I know all these guys. So they're from high school. So he was like, man, you're not going to do that to me what you did to dude, man. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, we played the game, man. And we already have scouted you, man. We know that you try to get in people's heads. You try to intimidate them. You know, I was like, nah, man. Come on, DC, man. You know that ain't. He's like, man, I'm telling you, man. I'm finna come at you, Irv. I said, all right. That's what I want you to do. By that time, you know, I think Lowell was back healthy, and Kenny was back. Kenny Battle was back. So we wound up playing them, and Kendall had a magnificent game that game. He snapped out, man. That's when I knew how good Kendall really, really was. I knew how good he was because we played against each other in practice and stuff, but Kendall snapped on Syracuse. So we beat Syracuse. So now we going to the Final Four, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, that experience is so crazy. Like, it's like nothing that you could ever, as far as basketball. I mean, I've never won an NBA championship or been in the finals, but that Final Four is if you've ever been to the Final Four, if anybody's just listening, been to the Final Four, you know what I'm talking about. Like, the atmosphere. Even the semis, man, the Sweet 16, man, you playing in front of 60,000 people.
Damn.
You know?
You go from, I don't really want to play basketball to the biggest stage in the world.
You said what again now?
I said you go from playing on the, I don't really want to play basketball to the biggest stage in the world.
Man, ain't that the truth? So, we're in the Final Four. Now keep in mind, I skipped a lot. I skipped that whole season, how crazy that season. I just said it was a rock star season.
Yeah.
But we played Michigan twice.
Right.
That season. We beat them twice.
Right.
We beat them twice. The last time that we played them in Ann Arbor, which, you know, senior night is probably one of the most emotional nights of your college career because it's your last time playing at home. You know, you're a senior. You're not going to play on the floor. But Glenn Rice and all those guys were seniors. We went into Michigan, man. And I think we beat them by 25.
Yeah, y'all boat raced them.
So we beat Michigan the last time. Right. The last time we played them, we beat them by 25. You know, so, but we feel like, okay, this is a different Michigan team. They just beat North Carolina. They done beat some teams. So we got to be so cautious because we don't want to get, you know, the coaches kept saying, man, this not the same team. You know, they playing different. They had a ton of talent, man. They started five, all five of them went pro.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They whole starting five went pro.
They 6-man went pro.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is a different Michigan. Huh?
Their 6-man went pro, Sean Higgins.
Yeah, Sean Higgins, yeah. But Sean started, though. They had Lloyd Ball went to the Clippers. I think he was a lottery pick. Glenn Rice, Romeo Robertson. Who else?
Terry Mills.
My man T. Mills. Yeah, all of them guys went pro. All of them, they hold five
Ramil
guys
Robinson.
went to the league, man. 5 guys on. Yeah, so we winded up playing Michigan again, man. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we up by 1. We up by 1. We up by 1. They got the last possession. They shot. Somebody Romeo Glenn took a jump shot, missed it. It bounced. Nick went up for the rebound, and Sean Higgins tipped it in.
Yeah, I remember that.
Final 4. So, it was so heartbreaking, but the reception we got when we came back to Illinois was kind of crazy, man. It was like, hey, we proud of y'all, And honestly, man, I'm not just saying this because I played on that team. We were the best team that season.
No doubt.
We was the best team in the country that season. I'm not just saying that. You know what I mean? Michigan might have had more talent than us, but we were a better all-around team than they were. You know what I'm saying? We were a better all-around team. And I go to my grave thinking that. But sometimes, man, it's how the ball bounces. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so we wound up losing, and we took it gracefully on the chin, even though it hurt. Man, that hurt for a long time. Then going to my senior year, now I'm a starter every game. My senior year, we got a really good team. We get to the tournament. I'm going to skip all of them in between. We get to the tournament, and we lose in the first round, man, of the tournament. We played. They had a good guard named Miguel Knight, who wound up playing in Phoenix. We played Miguel Knight, and they beat us in the tournament. And they beat us in the tournament. That was the end of my college career, which I think was for me, like you said, and I never really looked at it like that. A kid that didn't really want to play basketball, wanted to play baseball, who really wasn't that good, but made the best out of his talent, who I tried my best to outwork everybody that I went up against. I tried my best when we go to the weight room to outwork everybody on my team in the weight room. I tried my best to outrun everybody, to take care of myself, and tried my best to be the best that I could be, because I know that situation, it wasn't something that was given to me. It was something that I earned. Mm-hmm. So, it was rough, but I had a career where at times I wanted to transfer. I mean, it's just probably every kid who played college basketball. Things weren't going my way. It wasn't what y'all told me. It wasn't the way that it was supposed to be. But then when you go to the Final Four and you reap a lot of benefits, and you see what the promise is, then you start to realize. Then you got to realize too, at that time, I don't know what it is now, but the University of Illinois had the second largest alumni association in the country.
Oh wow!
Only behind UCLA. Yeah. So
I did not know
you
that.
start thinking about your future and about, you know what I'm saying? About, man, all these people, we went to California, man, or Arizona. It was in Tucson. We played Sean Elliott. And I mean, this is something crazy. We played Arizona. I think it was my junior year, the year we went to the Final Four. It might have been a year we went to the Final Four for 88, one of them. But you know who their point guard was? Now, this is the team that had Sean Elliott on. You know who their point guard was? And I tell people that they don't believe. Kenny Lofton.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's Kenny Lofton and Steve Kerr.
The baseball player. Yeah. Then they had Anthony Cook and Judd Bushler and Sean Elliott. And I think we wound up losing to them by 1. But they had a great team, man. A super good team. They had a really good team. Had a real good team. So, I got a chance to travel, man, and do a lot. So, my college career is over. I wound up playing in a lot of Big Ten All-Star games.
Okay.
Wound up doing that, man. And then I met a lady. I don't know. Her dad used to own the Gold. Her dad was the founder of the Globetrotters name. His name was Abe Saperstein.
Okay.
So Abe Saperstein. So I wind up. She gave me a job overseas. But before I went overseas, I went out to Sacramento. Sacramento gave me a shot, right?
Okay.
Sacramento gave me a shot. I went out to camp with the Sacramento Kings, and I was out there all summer, man, all summer, the summer of '90. I went out there, and I'm talking about I was so close to making that team, and the only reason why I didn't make that team, I was like one of the last people that they cut, was because they had drafted Billy Owens.
Oh.
And at that time, they had me playing the 3. And they was like, man, we really want you to hang around the team, but we can't promise you. You know, we drafted Billy Owens. I think they drafted him with the 2nd or the 3rd pick. You know,
right.
we know. And they had some guys on that team like Reggie Theus, and we had a big guy named Benjamin, Bernard Benjamin. It was a good Lionel Simmons.
Yeah, I was about to say the A-Train was there.
On that team in Sacramento. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? So I was out there, and I just couldn't wait, man. I came back to Champaign. I married my college, you know, the girl I was dating in college, got married, and I was like, man, I got a family. So I wound up going to Istanbul, Turkey, man, playing over in Turkey for a few years. And then in between playing in Turkey, I played in Venezuela. And, you know, so I made a pretty good living playing basketball, man. You know, then, you know, later on in life, I wound up getting in a little trouble. You know, I mean, it's ups and downs, man.
Right.
In life. I wound up getting in a little trouble. And I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but I wound up getting in some trouble. And if there's any children or any guys who think that they got to go back to Chicago, they got this lifestyle of Chicago, they got to live this certain lifestyle, this certain way, you know, that's not necessarily true. And that's why I call that's why I wound up catching the case, man. And that's what I regret the most, is because it wasn't really about me. It was about the lifestyle that I was trying to live.
Okay.
And I was making, man, almost $200,000 a year at night. I was playing overseas. So I didn't have to do anything outside of that to try to make more money. But it was the lifestyle. When you come back to Chicago, sometimes when you've made it out of a situation, man, you find yourself trying to fit in, trying to be, hey, I'm one of the guys. You know, that's where I grew up at, man. But you got to realize, man, and this is for a lot of the people that's listening, man, that may be in college or maybe got kids or whatever. Once your child make it out of that situation, don't hold the standards of your neighborhood, or don't hold those standards up to your child. Let your child experience life. You know what I'm saying? And without going into any details, I'm just saying I was trying to fit in, man. I was trying to live the lifestyle of certain people that I seen as when I was in college. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of guys who helped take care of me when I was in college, you know, I was appreciative, but I wanted this lifestyle that I didn't necessarily need, because I was way past them. I was way past that.
Right.
But I didn't see myself as being past that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, man, I want, you know, I got a 535 BMW. I got this. I got that. I got a crib. I got a nice house in Champaign. I got you know, at the time I was living in Champaign, I got everything that I need, everything that I want. All my needs is met, and I got money in the bank. But I still wanted more. Just trying to be greedy, man. And honestly, that was a downfall for me. But the good part about it is I was able to bounce back. I came home. I moved to Atlanta. I always loved Atlanta all the way back from when I verbal to Georgia Tech. So I always loved Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta, and dealership. When I first came home working at a car dealership, I worked myself, here again, my hard work pays off. I worked myself all the way up to a general manager.
Okay.
And then I moved to Nashville for a few years. I was the general manager of a car dealership in Nashville. I left Nashville because a guy offered me a whole lot of money to come manage his store in Orlando. So I went to Orlando for a few years. Then I went to Carbondale, Illinois. A guy offered me money. So I was like kind of where guys was like trying to get me to come work for them. You know, it was crazy because my numbers was up, you know?
Right.
And I was known at the time for turning stores who wasn't doing that well, but turning them around. And so I worked in the dealerships for a while. Then I decided, man, this ain't for me no more. And I met with one of my guys. He said, man, you got to get you some tow trucks. And I was like, I met this girl. She was like, man, you got to get you a FedEx route. But whatever it was, I knew that I had to do something that would make me an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? And
okay.
So I said, well, let me look into it. So I was about to get a FedEx route. And I wound up saying, nah, these guys talked me into getting a dump truck. I bought a dump truck. Then I got a contract with the state of Georgia. I bought another dump truck. So the guy who was my boss, he said, man, we just got this big contract. Ooh, I need 10 dump trucks. He's like, if you can get 10 dump trucks, I'll keep you working for at least 3 years on this project.
Wow.
He said it's a $40 billion contract. And it's working on the highways for the state of Georgia.
Okay.
So some kind of way, I don't know how I did it, but I wound up with 10 dump trucks, man.
Dang.
I wound up with 10 dump trucks. I fulfilled my obligation. Man, with the dump trucks. And I fulfilled my obligation and did the 3 years. The guy was a man of his word. You know, I wound up, after I did the contract, I wound up selling my company for a large amount of money. So now I'm kind of like just relaxing, and I got 2 tow trucks now. I went back to the tow trucks. I got 2 tow trucks, so that's what I do. I got 2 tow trucks that I run every day.
Okay.
Got set up with AAA and some other avenues with the counties, and I tow off the highways and all that.
Oh man, that's
and
awesome.
I kind of consult people who have dump truck businesses. I consult them and try to help them get on the right track. There's a thing called a DBE. It's a disadvantaged business enterprise, which is for minorities, and you can get contracts with the state and stuff.
Oh,
I try to help people to get that. If you get that, and you working for the state or working on the highway or anything, any penny that is put on a highway job, you can bid on it with that. You know?
Okay.
And so I kind of try to help people, especially minorities and brothers. I try to help them get that, man, and get on the right track. And, especially guys who've had downfalls or they don't think they can do it. Trucking right now, one thing that's not going nowhere is transportation, hospitals and medical field, transportation and education. That'll never go anywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because as much as we import, export, and as much as these stuff is broken on these highways and roads and bridges and all that stuff, so it's you probably remember back a while back, probably I think it was the 17, it might have been 16 or 17, when that bridge caught a fire in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I was one of the instrumental people who helped bring all the materials and help them get that bridge back up and going. I had guys working, and we was working like 12-hour shifts, man, to get that bridge back up together.
Damn.
And they called me to help them do it. But I had a lot of trucks at the time. So, life has been good for me, man. My story is a journey. I've had some ups and downs, but if I weigh it all out, man, my good outweigh my bad, man. And I give most of the praise and honor to God, man, for blessing me to be able to grow up in the city of Chicago. I love my city. I hate some of the things that's going on there with all of the violence, but I love Chicago, man. I love the food. I love the place. I just wish that we could get some of that violence under control, man, and we could do better. I love how, it's constantly producing good athletes, and so I'm proud of my city, but, I am right now. I've been in Georgia since 2000. I've been in Georgia since 2002, so, I guess I've become a Georgia peach or a Georgian, but but anybody would tell you I root for the Bears, the Cubs, the Sox. I mean, I love my city, man, and they know I'm from Chicago, and everybody who knows me know I played in Illinois because I got pictures all over my house, all over my gym, all over everywhere, I mean, I wear tons of Illinois clothing and gear. So they're like, hey, man, you went to Illinois. I guess, right? So,
That's awesome.
I'm glad I was able to funnel and give you kind of a little bit of my life, man. And, I've been blessed, man. A lot of people like my buddy Ben Wilson that make it to be 53 years old. I'm 53. I'm happy. So I live my life on my terms, and God has just blessed me, man. And that's all I can really say, man. I can give him so much praise and so much honor, so much glory, but it's God is the reason, man, that I'm able to have the life, and I feel like I've lived a life of, and I've done a lot of things, and I've met a lot of people. God rest his soul, Bob Hambrick, Lou Henson. I've had great coaches. I've had great friends, great people, great teammates, and I'm just blessed, man, to be able to tell my story, man. If you got any questions or anything you want to know, man, I'm an open book, bro.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you just said that, man, because like I said, we got built for this network, and on my end, I do a few shows, and this show, I have a show that I do on Saturdays traditionally, and it's called Build and Destroy. First of all, my podcast is The End of the Bench. I started it about 5 years ago. Then through trials and tribulations, ups and downs, I've worked my way to being here at Built for This Network. Me and my two partners, Anthony Knox and Vernon Ricks. And the thing is, my shows initially it started off as just pure sports. That's why it was called The End of the Bench, because you up 20. I mean, as you stated, y'all beating the hell out of CVS. Up 20. What you do? You sit on the bench and you talk to your friends, and you talk, and you create bonds that way. And so that's what it was about, talking about sports. And then it has matriculated into what I call Build and Destroy, and that's the show I do on Saturdays. And what I want to do, man, my goal is to build a community so we can call a Irvin Small and say, Irvin, this is what we're looking at. Can you help us or point us in the right direction? And you can be like, yo, can you do this? And we can, and we can recreate that nostalgic feeling that me and you grew up in. No, it won't be it more than likely it won't be house music, or it won't be any kind of music. But I don't have an issue with anybody or any culture. But as you stated, man, a lot of this violence in Chicago is centered around our communities. We've all done knucklehead stuff. We've all done stuff that we don't want to be posted on social media or anywhere else for that matter. But at this point, me and you are the seniors of our community nationwide. You holding it down from Chicago in Georgia, setting an example. My goal is to set an example as well. That's why I requested to talk to you, because you didn't go on to be Anthony Mason or one of these guys that me and you grew up watching, but your story is just as vital as any other story. I am a kid from the south side of Chicago who had no focus. All of a sudden, I look up and somebody grabbed hold to me and pointed me in the right direction. And then you got a legendary coach like Bob Hambrick that tapped you on the shoulder and challenged you. But you thought it was you can't do it. But Bob saw saw in you what you are saying that you are today. That's why he told you, son, you're not that good. Because anybody who show up at Simeon during that period and try out, you got to be busting your back because Bob Hamrick is not having anything but that. So he knew if I push
That's
this,
right. That's right.
if I push this kid and he responds, this is the kid that needs to be on the team. It might have been a dude out there that was trying out that was 10 times better than you. But you know what? He knew he was, and he wasn't working that hard. Maybe that's what Bob Hamrick saw. And now look at you. You're the owner of a business. You're an entrepreneur. You're an example and a pillar in our community. And that's why I asked you to come on. I've talked to heavyweight champions. I've talked to Rod Strickland and Kenny Anderson. I've talked to Tracy Murray.
Rod Strickland, my man. Yeah.
Good brother, man.
I got to talk about Strickland too, man. One time we went up to the ball. That's a bunch of Simeon players.
Okay.
They had Dallas Cummings and Anthony and Lawrence West and Strick was up, man. We went up there and we scrimmaged with them and beat them.
Wow.
My high school team.
Right.
That's how good we was.
I mean, that's why.
Was on our team at the time too. Now, keep in mind, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We went up to scrimmage with them, and then Rod, one of Rod's teammates in college, Marty Emery. I played against him when I was in Istanbul. We played against each other a lot. So me and him became really good friends when I was in Turkey.
Man, see.
Yeah, so man.
That's what I'm saying.
Basketball. One thing Hamrick taught me, man. He said basketball can take you if you treat the ball right, the ball will treat you right. But basketball can take you all over this world.
Right.
And that's what it's done, man. There's places I never thought, Iran and Greece and Germany. There's places I never thought I'd ever see in my lifetime. I'm a kid from the inner city of Chicago. I'm not catching no flight that's 24 hours nowhere.
Right.
Without basketball. You understand what I'm saying? Without basketball, I'm not catching a flight to Istanbul, Turkey, or I'm not getting a layover in Germany. And they say, oh, whoever want to lay over here for 3 days, we'll pay for your hotel. Yeah, I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Germany. I've been to Belgium. God has blessed me. I was in Turkey, man, when and I didn't really talk about my professional career, but I was in Turkey when Desert Storm broke out.
Wow.
I was in Istanbul, and Turkey was an ally of the United States, and it was so bad, man. I was married to my wife, and we seen the SS Wisconsin, the SS Missouri, all these boats that start docking, man, at the Black Sea, and all these soldiers, these American soldiers, and they like, what the heck is going on? Because we can't understand nothing that's going on the news.
Right.
He said, man, the president declared a war January the 15th. He's like, what? Man, I got my butt from over there, brother.
Hey, man.
I got paid by my team. I told him, hey, man, I got to go, man. I'm not going to subject myself and my family to this, man. I got to go, man. And I wound up leaving, man. And they, because I was honest and straight up with them, they offered me back the next year. But I left, man. I left.
Right.
So, and then, I was making a pretty good money, and I couldn't go. I was scared to go to the bank to send my money because they had a Citibank. We go to Citibank and transfer the money from Turkish lira to American dollars, and then I would wire it. I would wire it from Turkey to my mom.
Right.
And man, it was crazy, man. We wound up getting on the plane with almost $70,000, man, cash.
Wow.
We was hiding in our shoes, like we was doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? We was hiding in our shoes and bags. Back then, we had so many Louis Vuitton bags, and there's just so much stuff, man. It was crazy, man. But again, I just thank God, man. Marty and some more Americans stayed over there, man, and 3-4 days after we left, they bombed the embassy.
Wow.
The U.S. embassy. So they didn't know who all was there. Once that embassy is bombed, they don't know who all in the country.
Right.
That's from America. So I still talk to Marty and so I'm like, man, you just get over that, man. He's like, I'm going on tomorrow, man. So But it was just crazy, man. It was crazy, man. That was just something in my life that was, like I say, man, I had a good life, man. I had a good life, man. I look at the ups and downs, man, and I want to be able to help children. I want to be able to help parents who got kids and getting ready to go to college and, and be, just a voice that they hear, man. When your child mess up or when your child think, he's not good enough, I want to be the one, to say, hey, man, you are good enough, you can do it, you got to outwork everybody. My daughter played basketball and she was better than I was, you know what I mean?
Right.
Early on because she had guidance. My dad wasn't really in my life, that much like that, but she had guidance,
Right.
My dad, I was living in Carbondale at the time, and I used to drive from Carbondale within 3 hours to Champaign just to watch her play, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, and she'll tell you, man, me and her so tight right now, it's crazy. And my grandson, I got a grandson that's 6.
Congratulations.
He plays football right now. He playing football. He don't know what he got. He don't know the talent that at 6 years old, man, this dude, man, he averaging 5 sacks a game.
Wow.
In Pee Wee football. And I'm like, dude, he don't know because he's 6. You know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes I have to remember and remind myself, hey, man, dude, chill, man. The boy's 6. You know what I mean?
It's for fun now.
He's 6 years old. Yeah, he's 6. So I got to remember, man, he's 6. He only 6, so you got to give him a break. You know what I mean? I'll be like, man, you acting too silly. You being too, stop doing that. Stop. But then I got to, hey, man, you know what? He's 6 years old, man. Let me just be cool, man, and let him be a kid, too. Because if I take that kid, a lot of these kids, man, they'll reach their ceiling too soon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of let him do his thing. I kind of, hey, man, you got to be aggressive. You got to go after the quarterback. All right, Papa. Okay, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I got him personal training. So he does personal training. I got somebody in Tennessee that trains him. So, he's like, oh, I don't want to go. Okay, you don't got to go. You going to be mad at me? No, not going to be mad at you.
Yep.
You don't feel like going, don't go. You know what I mean? But I do want you to know that you get better when you get better. You get better when you go to training. When you're in better, when you do things that you don't want to do, sometimes I said, have you ever been to training and you ain't want to go and then you went, you had fun? Yeah, all the time. I said, there you go.
Exactly.
Sometimes, man, you have to do things you don't want to do. They're going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be what you want to do at the time. But I mean, and at 6 years old, he understands that. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's silly, he want to play with toys. He want to ride his bike. He want to ride his 4-wheeler. But again, I have to tell him, hey, man, listen, I understand you want to do all that, but you say you want to play football, so hey, here it is. This opportunity.
Right.
I think I want to play basketball. This coming up, Park District basketball. I said, okay. I mean, I'm not gonna force you to play basketball. I'm not gonna do that. That's what you want to do. You're good in football. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tell him, I say, man, I started off playing baseball. He said, man, I don't like baseball. But you know why? He would be a good basketball player because he plays soccer.
Oh yeah, footwork.
So his footwork is outstanding. His footwork, and that was one of the first things that I ever learned when playing basketball with Amber. We had practice sessions, man. When practice first started, we didn't even, for 45 minutes, we didn't even touch a ball. We did all footwork. One thing he hated was one of his players, and if you think back on any of them Simeon teams, we hardly ever got called for travel.
Never.
Ever.
Y'all didn't make a lot of, it was,
because our footwork was so.
Y'all didn't make a lot of mistakes, period. If y'all lost, it was because the other team was better or y'all just had a bad game.
And check this out. I'm going to tell you something. Now this is going to blow your mind. In my 4 years at Simeon, I lost 5 games.
Man, it was, trust me.
And you play 30-something games a year, right?
Right.
30-something games a year.
Yeah, hey,
So it
bro.
was about 90-something games.
Let me tell you something, man. As much tension as
And
it is
I'm
on the.
talking about, this includes the spring and the summer. Spring and the summer. I lost 5 games.
Bro, it was a machine. Look, let me tell you, like we were talking earlier. It's always been this tension between the West and the South side of Chicago. Let me tell you this. I was born on the West side. I was raised on the North side of Lincoln Park. That very same park, down the street from where you went when y'all be riding them. That's the neighborhood I grew up in. I grew up in what they call old. You remember Old Town with Ripley's Believe It or Not and all that old nonsense.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. So even being how hard we rep our side of town when we in Chicago. We meet up at Hayes Drive. We meet up on Hayes Drive. We meet up at the at the plaza. You repping your side of town. It was dudes from the West side that was like, man, I wonder if I could make it on Simeon. That's how much of. So when you said y'all were rock stars, you like, I'm gonna be humble. No, you wasn't bragging. You were telling the truth because, bruh, that machine out there was unreal.
Right. Listen to this. My senior year in high school, right? Right after Ben died, I promise you, Dallas Comedies used to hang out with me and Nick on the South Side. I used to take him to the Hummingbird and everywhere, man. I used to have Dallas used to be with us like he was in high school, bro.
I'm telling you.
He was a sophomore at DePaul. He was one of the top players in the country. And he used to hang out with me and Nick everywhere.
I'm telling you.
He used to hang out with us.
Hey, man, I've witnessed it. I mean, because, even though I was a football / baseball player, I just love sports, period. I like to watch, like I will watch, like I'm a Bears fan, but you remember when we were younger, the Bears go off at 3 and the Raiders will come on Channel 5. So I love the Raiders as well. But at one point in my life, I stopped being a fan of any team and just wanted to watch the game. Of course, when I'm watching the Flying the Line now and y'all go to Indiana, I want Illinois to win. But even though I'm gonna bring up a sore moment in your career, even though Jay Edwards hit that garbage shot from the corner that night, from foul line extended, it was a great game. Of course, I'm rooting for Illinois, but it's just competition.
Hold on. Now, you know I was in that game.
I know.
So think about this. Think about Jay Edwards hit that shot, right?
Right.
Everybody in Indiana thought the game was over. But think about what happened. Nick hit a half-court shot for us to win.
Oh, he did. I forgot about that. He hit
a half-court shot for us to win that game.
Right. I remember that.
And I'm talking about, it wasn't no throw. Nick took a jump shot.
Yeah, he took a jumper. And y'all buried him at the eye. I remember that now. But see, and that's what I'm saying, man. I want to recreate an environment. Like, right before you, I did an interview with Razzcast. Same day, I just, and I told him, me and him talked, and then we talked offline, and we were saying that we want to recreate the community in which we grew up in. Because Razzcast said the gangbang is from his community. Instead of, making him a gang member, they pushed him towards Battle Cat. And Battle Cat put him on. Just like me and you, I had Jimmy Fields and Willie Green on the west side. Because I never stopped playing sports on the west side. I don't know why I never played any sports on the north side. No organized sport. You had Hamrick, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name that you named that his wife and your mom were friends. And I'm just trying to recreate that.
Coach Ham, Lonnie Hampton. Coach Ham, man. That was my man. Coach Ham, man, he used to bring grammar school guys. Man, let me tell you something, man. And if you ever get Marcus on, and Marcus does a show, it's called All Ball Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. But if you ever get, and I can put you in tune with him, but
please
if you
do.
ever get Marcus on, Marcus was supposed to come to Simeon.
Wow.
His whole family went to Simeon. Wow. Except his brother Duro went to Crane, and that's why he went to Crane. And then when Duro transferred to King, he went to King.
Wow.
But Marcus, all the rest of his family went to Simeon. All his cousins and everybody went to Simeon. Yep.
And man, and that's what I'm saying.
He was supposed to come to Simeon, man. Can you imagine? Marcus, Nick, Benji, Marcus, Nick, Ben, Dion, but all us on the same team? Oh my God.
Yeah.
That would have been, that just would have been crazy, man.
Yeah. Games over. You'd have really been pissed off because y'all would have had no competition.
Right.
It would have been horrible for you. Well, I would love to have Marcus on, man, because again, man, I just want stories to be told.
Yeah, I'll see if I can put it together for you.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I would really appreciate that because
try to put y'all, and even have you come on his show to tell people what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because hey, man, and if you
I'm gonna tell you a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got two nieces that played at Bolingbrook. I don't know if you're familiar with Bolingbrook basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But in the 90s, Bolingbrook, huh?
Yeah, I say, I am.
Yeah, it's a girl. Her name is, it's a young lady. Her name is Morgan Tuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's the winningest girls basketball player in Chicago history. When I tell you I love Mo Tuck, she, as a freshman, she won Miss Basketball.
Wow.
I think she won it 3 or 4 years. She won it 3 years in a row. I know she won it 3 years in a row. She won 4 national championships at UConn. And she just won a WNBA championship. So she's won on every level. She won 3 state championships at Bolingbrook. She won 4 national championships at UConn. And then she played with Breonna Stewart. And then the Seattle Storm just won.
I was just about to say, that's the Seattle Storm girl.
They won the WNBA.
And she got a gold medal.
And she got gold medals, right? Exactly. And she got gold medals. That's right.
Yeah, I'm a sports addict, man. I'm an addict to the sports, man.
Yes, me and her family. You know, my nieces played with her at Bolingbrook. Well, my nieces was going to Morgan Park, and my sister wanted to get them out of there, so we got them. My stepsister, we got them out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I sent them. I got them in Bolingbrook. They wound up winning the state championship. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, you know, so I know that family. I know them real, real good, and I know she would come on and talk to you about basketball and sports, and you know what I'm saying? Because I got her on Marcus. If you ever go on and look at some of Marcus's old shows,
okay.
I got her on Marcus' show, man, and she's phenomenal, man. She's the winningest athlete, probably in boys or girls. If nobody else can say they won 4 national championships in college.
Yeah.
Nobody. Except for the girls that was on that team. Nobody else can say that. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
You win 3 state championships, then you go to UConn and win 4 national championships, and then you win a WNBA championship. She got more jewelry than most, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She got jewelry, man.
She got more jewelry than Mike.
Yeah, she do. Yeah, she got 4 national championships.
And I just looked her up. She's only 26.
3 high schools, 3 state championships. That's what, 7, and then the NBA, the WNBA championship. That's 8 rings, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Man, let's work together.
And she's a sweet pie.
Let's work together then, brother, because and if you know any seniors, because
what I do is, you know, we'll talk tomorrow, the next day, and I get you a couple people numbers that, you know, that I think that people would want to hear their story, man, because you got to realize Morgan got a story too. She had 4 or 5 knee surgeries, man.
Oh wow.
So she got a story to tell about being hurt. You know what I mean? About being hurt and not playing and sitting on the bench at UConn. And I mean, you know, and it's somebody that's out there that's aching and paining, and somebody
Yes.
so they ACL show that need to hear it. You know what I'm saying? They
Yes.
need to hear that, man. That it don't. She won the WNBA championship this year after having 5 knee surgeries. That's unheard of.
Yes, it is.
Unheard of. You
Yes,
know what
it
I mean?
is.
So So she's like she's my favorite girls basketball player. I mean, of all time. To me, my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Because I know her. I know her pedigree. I know her family. I know her mom. I know her dad. But she just she a workaholic, man. She outworks people. She's a workaholic, and she's good people, man. Her mom is good people. She's good people, man. And
I love
that'd be
it.
a good, look at a little bit of the interview she did with Marcus, man.
Okay.
Very well spoken, very intellectual. You know what I'm saying? All about Chicago. Very intellectual, man. And she good people, man. But yeah, man, you can take this thing to the next level, bro. I can help you. I don't
Please
mind.
do.
That's one thing. Let me tell you one thing, man. The difference between Georgia and Atlanta area and Chicago is people in Georgia, they look out for each other.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We look out for each other. When I was in Chicago, man, they not gonna let you do nothing or let you have nothing or let you be a part of nothing that's successful without trying to tear it down. In Georgia, they all about building up, man. This whole state, I'm not surprised at what happened in this presidential election because this state is about building, man, building up. Yeah, it's gonna be some people that ain't gonna like you. Yeah, it's gonna be some people that's gonna hate you, but not like Chicago, man. And like I said at the beginning, I love my city. Don't get me wrong, but man, it's just Chicago got so much stuff going on, man. And then there's a lot of people here that's from Chicago.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people here, but they come here because it's opportunity, man. There's so much opportunity. I mean, for what you would pay for a house, just say like in Lincoln Park or Lansing, Illinois, or suburbs, or out in Aurora, or anywhere out there, Naperville, all that. What you would pay for a house out there, you could get 3 houses in Atlanta.
Wow.
And you're going to get some land. There ain't nobody going to be living right next door to you. And, it's the opposite, man. This is the city. It's a city of opportunity, man. Atlanta's a city of opportunity, man. Especially for us, man, that want to do something and be something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's a chance for you to live your dream. You can live your dream here so easy, man.
That's
You
awesome,
can live
man.
your dream here. Oh, okay, man. I tell people, and there's a lot going on here. I tell people all the time, and I tell these guys from Atlanta, if you can't make it in Atlanta, Georgia, if you can't make nothing happen in Atlanta, Georgia, you can't make it happen nowhere in the world.
Wow. Now that's promising right there.
How good it is. And, just like today, man, it's 85 degrees. It's been in the 70s and 80s this whole last week or so. You know what I'm saying? And as cold as it's gonna get in the 30s sometimes. 1, 2, or 3, or 4, 5 times, but that's about it, man. The weather is great. You ain't gonna get no snow. You ain't gonna get, you're gonna get a little snow every once in a while, unusual, but man, I love it here, man. And I love it here. I love my city too. Don't get me wrong. Now, the food, they can't touch Chicago when it comes to food.
Trust me, I know.
You know what I mean? They ain't got no pizza. They ain't got, you know what I mean? Probably a lot of stuff I don't need, but but they can't touch me, man. They ain't got no Jewtown Polish. They ain't got, you know what I mean? Maxwell Street and all that, but you ain't gonna get a better hot wing though in Chicago than down here, but you know what I mean? But every city had what they known for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chicago just got so much and so many things, man.
Yeah,
but,
it's
it was a blessing, man. I'm getting ready to pull up to my crib, man. I was coming from my daughter's house in Nashville, so I'm glad we had the opportunity to talk, man. It was great, man, to sit down with you and talk to you, brother. and you know, you got my number, so if there's anything you need, man, if there's any way that I can help you or anybody or any listeners or anybody who want to have a one-on-one, you know, that wants to know the rest of my story, and you know, if you set it up and you say it's cool, then we can do it. You know what I mean? But
man, thank you, man.
I'm all about helping and uplifting, man, and trying to make this world a better place. I want this world to be a better place than it was when I leave here. I want somebody to say, hey, man, this dude made a difference, man. Not to eulogize me and say, oh, he's a good dude. He did this, but hey, man, he made this place a better place, man. And, you know, losing him was like losing, you know what I mean, like losing something that was special. Because I want to make a difference, man. Not just in my kids and my grandkids' life, but any children, man.
Yes.
Because we all got a chance, man. We all got a chance. And somebody poured into me, like you said. Somebody poured into me. And I just want to be able to pour into somebody else, man. And whatever I can do to help, man. Anybody, man. Any parent. You know, I talked to it when my niece and them was going, when they was in, when my niece and stuff was in high school. You know, I did a lot of speaking to a lot of parents because a lot of kids was getting recruited, man, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so, my niece played on Bolingbrook, so, I mean, they had 5 starters to go D1.
That's dope.
So, you know, man, so, it's just...
Man, you there? Hello?
I have a guy was, you know, being incarcerated and being able to live my life the way that I have.
Right.
Overseas, and I mean that is far more important to me than any degree that I could have ever learned. I
Yes.
could have never learned half the things that I know without failing, even in business. You know what I'm saying? I done failed in a lot of businesses, but I've also flourished in some as well. You know what I mean?
I'm glad.
But to God be the glory, man. And like I say, if there's anything that I can do for you or anything, you know, man, just let me know, brother.
Man,
right?
thank you. And man, I am trying to create a table. And I am, with that being said, you always have a seat at the table. Anytime you want to reach out and say, hey, man, get into this, tell the people about this, you can call. I plan on continuing to keep in contact with you, man. God bless you. Thank you. I hope you can hook that up with the young lady and Marcus, and we can just continue to grow this.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that together for you.
Man, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And
all right, brother. God bless, man. You have a good one, man.
You do the same.
Man.
You do the same. God bless. Peace out.
We are built for this network, for the strong, not the weak.